About a Hurricane Show. It's good. Shout out to Gemini returning once again for another amazing video. Hey, how y'all doing? I really wanted to make this video because I think this video is very vital. Okay. First of all, I want to thank everybody who commented on my last video and showed support for that. That was dope. I hope you got some information that could possibly help you. Okay, because that is my job. All right. I got my little unicorn onesie. You know, shout out to my auntie and my uncle for it. Shout out to Travis Majors too, because every time I wear this, I think about him. All right, the unicorn. Okay, so I want to talk about anime series. Okay, I really appreciate anime series because they're not just entertainment for me. They always taught me lessons. Okay, there's always an occultic, metaphysical lesson in anime. You just really got to pay attention. And especially in Naruto. Now, I really wanted to do a video on Naruto, but that's going to be a deep video. And I want to make sure that everything is in place. I want to make sure that video is perfect, right? Before I do Naruto, because Naruto, along with other anime series, has really helped me on my evolutionary journey. And it hits me spiritually, you know what I'm saying? It hits me right here, and I can execute some of the lessons that I learned from an anime series and implement them into my life. So this video is going to be about Avatar. I know y'all familiar with the series, but I'm not talking about The Last Airbender. I'm talking about the part 2, which is The Legend of Korra, because I just recently started watching it, and it's so many metaphysical and occult information there that you can even see how whoever wrote this, they know something. Okay, they know, because the similarities between this world and this series are very prominent. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to break down some symbolisms, and so far I'm on season 3. I just started season 3 and I just finished seasons 1 and 2. And so far, I just want to break down. These are just my interpretations of the symbols that I picked up, okay? So, for example, all right. So, in this series of Avatar, The Legend of Korra, Avatar Aang has now passed on, but he has children with Katana, right? So, he has a total of 4 children and, 3 grandchildren? And at this time, his youngest son, Tenzin, is basically his protege. He's like his legacy. So Tenzin dedicates his life with spiritual practices and basically helping the next avatar by bringing the information from the last avatar from his father to the new avatar, which is Korra. Tenzin is Korra's teacher, okay? Now, mind you, like I said, Tenzin is Avatar Aang's youngest son, who was an airbender, right? And his grandchildren are airbenders. Now, mind you, at this time, I'm going to break this down because this blew my mind. At this time, there are only the 5 airbenders at this time. So it's just Tenzin and his children, and they just had another baby. So that he'll probably be an airbender too, right? So now you have Avatar Korra. You know, Avatar Aang remanifests himself as Korra. Now, if you pay attention to Korra, Korra is a melanated female. Okay, you know how Aang was an airbender? Korra is from the water tribe. So this generation of Avatar, she is a waterbender, a natural waterbender, okay? And just from even me studying this whole Avatar series, I interpret like the master of elements, because you know the Avatar is the master of all elements. So fire, water, earth, air, right? So I just recognize that and being master of all realms, all right? Because I relate to this a lot, because I feel like it's just, even when I was like a teenager, like I was just always drawn to the Avatar series, and I understand why, because it's basically just talking about me and other people like me, you know, being the master of all elements. So being a master of all realms. That's why I kind of like Luciferianism doctrine, because Luciferianism just really solidified for me that you can be master of all realms. So I can be in the physical world, I can twerk, shake this ass, do all this, but I also can, you know, be the master of the physical realms. I mean, the spiritual realm. So I can meditate, I can evolve, I can provide spiritual counsel, because I am master of both of those realms, really all those realms. I'm trying to get to the master of all dimensions, all the way up to the 10th dimension, okay? So that's my interpretation. So in season two is more spiritual based. Season one was basically Korra learning airbending. Korra, she didn't know the avatar isn't perfect, so the avatar has to grow into its power. So that's why Aang had his own trials. Now Korra has her own trials, and one of her trials was learning airbending. So she didn't learn airbending to the end of season one, okay? But she was struggling with it. But season two, all right, she got airbending down. She's really starting to come into her power as the avatar, realizing, the importance of her presence, because now she truly is the avatar. She's really mastered all four elements. Now, in this one, the season two is called Book 2 Spirits. And season two is really based on the spiritual aspect of the avatar. So long story short, basically in season two, Korra starts to learn spiritual aspects from her uncle. And her uncle is a chief of the Northern Water Tribe, and Korra's father is the chief of the Southern Water Tribe, right? So Korra's uncle comes down from the north to the south, basically, and he emphasizes the fact that she needs to learn how to deal with spirits. Now, around this time, there is a portal open. I'm talking about the portals. There is a portal open. Well, no, let me backtrack. So Korra's uncle wants to help her, but we find out later on in the line that Korra, her uncle used her for his own agenda, okay? But he needed her to learn how to operate in the spiritual, because the avatar is supposed to be the bridge between the spirit world and the material world. They say this in the series. I cannot make this up, okay? That's what is said in the series, right? So she goes on a spiritual journey, basically, and her uncle teaches her, like, around this time, there are dark spirits roaming on Earth, and they just causing havoc, throwing people off ships, killing people, harming people. So she has to learn, she basically learned from my uncle how to transmute the darker spirits and then transmute them into lighter ones. And she tells them to go in peace, and then, they fizzle away and they go back to the astral realm or wherever they came from. That's a form of alchemy. So when I sat and thought about that, I'm like, oh, alchemy, turning darkness into light, right? So that is her lesson. Now, in season two, there are two portals that need to be open. Like I said, Korra's uncle tricked her into opening these portals. There's a portal in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere, right? And both of these portals are access to the spirit realms, right? So towards the end, we find out that the origins of the avatar, that the first avatar, what he went through, how he obtained the elements, and how the avatar is now being there, reincarnates to bring balance unto the world, right? And the main thing for that, there's two spirits that were shown and that were really emphasized in this, because they were the center of it as you get to the series, right? There's two spirits. The Rava spirit, which is the light spirit, or the avatar spirit, it's a feminine spirit that inhabits the avatar, right? And then you also have Vatu. Vatu is the darker spirit. It is the masculine spirit. It is the spirit of darkness and chaos, right? Now, of course, it's a children's thing, so they gonna make it seem like, darkness and chaos is more sinister and dark. It's a children's thing. But the thing is, as Korra begins to go through season two, she learns that they both need each other. Both Rava, the light spirit, and Batu, the dark spirit, they need each other to coexist, okay? Even Rava said the same thing, but they battle out each other to see, it's supposed to be like a battle or something, right? So basically, one of the first lessons that I've learned is Korra's willpower. Now, Korra, she struggles with her spiritualism a little bit, and I've done the research. Korra is a Taurus, and Taurus is an earth sign, so it's about everything in the physical, everything that you can see, touch, taste, smell, things like that. It's earth, it's tangible. So sometimes it's a little bit harder for earth signs to tap into those other realms compared to water signs, who are, even if they're not consciously aware, they know it exists, right? But she was having issues getting into, the spirit realm and connecting spiritually. So after a lot of practicing and evolving and actually going back in her past life to view the story of the first avatar and getting introduced to Rava and Batu, she finally fights Batu towards the end of the season. And one of the things, I saw a lot of major keys that was in that final battle, because Vatu was beating her ass at first. he was like basically winning at first, to the point where Vatu, the darker spirit, he extracted Rava out of Avatar Korra. Like I said, Rava is when you see the Avatar going into that light state where the Avatar's eyes are white. That is the spirit of Rava. So he extracted that from her, and that was a really big thing for her, because she was really dependent on Rava, because Rava showed her, past lives about the Avatar and things like that. So she depended on that. And but sometimes even me watching it, like when she'll get down or something like that, I'd be like, bro, you can just do this or you can just do that. But she ended up realizing those things I would say, because when I watch series, I talk to myself like, why you just do this? Like, you're the Avatar. I'd be literally yelling at my screen like, you're the Avatar, Korra. You got it. You can do it. All you got to do is A, B, and C, and D. But ironically, like I said, I've never seen this series before in its whole completion in chronological order. But all of those things I was talking about, she ended up learning anyway, right? So towards the end, it seems like Rava's won. Batu's won. Then, like I said, both portals are open. Now, when both of the portals are open, there is a phenomenon in the series called harmonic convergence. Harmonic convergence is when basically all of the planets are aligned, which gives access. And when those portals are open in the North Pole and the South Pole, along with harmonic convergence, a lot of spiritual energy on Earth was just going crazy. And what phenomenon is similar to that? 2012, right? 2012 is when was basically our harmonic convergence. After 2012, life wasn't the same. People started to get more spiritually awakened. Things start coming out. The spiritual world and the physical world were basically one, right? Same thing that happened in the series. So this is what's occurring right now. So on 2012, it really seems like when harmonic convergence is taking place, it really seems like the end of the world is happening, especially with the two portals being open. So you got all this spiritual activity on Earth that nobody has seen in I don't know how long, for like 10,000 years. So it's crazy. So once Korra got separated from her Avatar spirit, she was kind of down about it because she was dependent on it. But Tenzin, Avatar Aang's brother, her teacher, was just like, basically, it was a tree or whatever, but he was just like, basically, meditate. You have to find your own power outside of Rava, okay? You have to find your own power, and you have to come into that own power in order to destroy Vatu, this darker energy that's about to take over the planet. So that's what she did. Like I said, she struggled with meditating, but she was able to do it in that moment because literally the world depended on her to be saved, to balance out that lightness and that darkness, because right now just darkness is just running rapid. There's no light to balance it out. So that's what she did. Vatu at this point was halfway across the world, so she was like, damn, I can't get to him physically, so I'm gonna have to get to him astrally. So basically she astral projected, and she was fighting him in the ethers. Like, her physical body was meditating, but she was fighting him astrologically, or in the ethers, right? And we all know astral projection is real. We all know that you can leave your body. This is why some people get sleep paralysis, because really sleep paralysis is just your soul trying to fit back in your body. You know what I'm saying? So, so she ended up destroying Vatu, but how she did it was interesting because because once Vatu was destroyed, I'm just like, well, okay, I know Rava's not dead because Rava is an energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred. So me knowing that, I'm like, okay, I know for sure Rava's like not dead. So how's she gonna come back? So what Korra ended up doing was, she had help from Avatar Aang's granddaughter, which is Tenzin's daughter. She's very affluent in the spiritual realm, even more than her father. So she was able to be like a channel for Rava to come back. And what Avatar Korra did in her astral self, she reached into Vatu, which is the darker spirits, kind of like in his heart space, and she pulled Rava out. And that represents to me the law of polarization, like the 7 Hermetic principles, the law of polarization. So everything has an opposite. Everything like and alike are the same. So she was able to extract Rava light out of the darkness. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was very interesting too, because I'm just like, oh, law of polarization right there. So even when all hope was lost, she was able to find, and that's even symbolism, because the name of the episode was Light in the Darkness. She was able to find Rava, that light spirit within the darkness. And then, she ended up defeating Vatu by transmuting his darker energy to lighter energy and sending him back to whatever astral realm or dimension that he came. So at that point, Avatar Korra is aware that, okay, both lightness and darkness are necessary. She merges back with Rava, and the world is saved, right? Now, the thing that I found most interesting is the first Avatar decided that the material world and the spiritual world should be separate. But what makes Korra so revolutionary, and you can see this even in today, like I said, these writers, they know, okay? You can see that even in today. Korra had the option of closing the portals. Like I said, there's a portal on the North Pole and there's a portal on the South Pole. So those portals are open to the spirit world. So right now, the spirit world and the material world are merging as one. The veil is thin, like the veil is thin now. There are a lot of portals on planet right now that are occurring, right? So she decided not to do it. She was just like, well, what if the first Avatar 1, was wrong? Like, what if humans and spirits can come together? And Tenzin reminds me a lot of the Hierophant. I don't know if y'all familiar with the Hierophant and the Tarot, but his energy is like this. He's spiritual, but he understands the disciplines behind spirituality, right? So Tenzin is like the wise counsel, the wise spiritual teacher, right? Who follows traditions. He's really big on traditionalism, right? So Korra decides to leave the portal open. So now the spirits are just roaming freely, children interacting with bunny spirits and fox spirits and all, just, stuff like that. So Korra, on the season finale of this episode, Korra gives a press conference saying that, okay, as the Avatar decided to leave the portals open, I believe the spiritual world and the material world should be one. And when she said it really was, and she was just like, basically, we are now experiencing the dawn of a new age, right? And my thing is, when she said that, I'm like, oh, the age of Aquarius, what we're going through now. Right now, the spirit realm is very thin. And Sister Mara used to say that the things that have worked for you before that time, so our harmonic convergence was 2012, because that's what happened, literally what happened in our own solar system. Our planets were aligned, and that's how all that energy started coming in. And now the spirit world and the material world now are very in unison. And I remember Sister Mara said, basically, the things that you used to can do, you can no longer do, and the things that never worked for you before can't work for you now. So this is why, a lot of us, especially the younger generation, we're very innovative. We are breaking traditions. We are not, we're finding new ways to do jobs and make income and money. Like how we're doing things now couldn't have been done 40 years ago. It just would have been impossible. But that's kind of what that energy now is supporting, what the age of Aquarius now is supporting. And like I said, I thought that was really interesting. So when she said in her press conference, we're on the dawn of a new age, I'm like, these, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing here. The age of Aquarius, where the physical world now and the spiritual world are coming together. Everybody is having their own awakening, right? And like I said, Korra is very revolutionary because she's doing things that have never, ever, ever been done before. And what I appreciate about Korra is her willpower. Really, I wanted to make this about willpower. Really, is just really know who you are. Like I said, it's solar plexus. It's I am. When you activate your solar plexus, you know your place in the world, and there's no room for doubt. You know what I'm saying? That's why manifesting things in the 5D is faster, because you're no longer succumb to doubt, because you're solidified in that solar plexus energy. So, like I said, when she was really kind of upset about, and she had a lot of trials, and I've cried. Like a lot of anime series, Like, I've cried because, like I said, I'm going through an intense transformation, and like her similar experiences kind of helped me because these past few weeks, I know I'm not alone, but I know I got to do the internal work by myself. And I feel like Spirit will do that. Spirit will just push you out there, like, to test you. Be like, all right, do you learn this? Let me see, can you pull the resource, your inner resources, to go through this transformation? Let me see if you have the inner resources to get these downloads so you can transform, so you can be evolved, and then look back and be like, oh, that's why I had to go through that. And I feel like I'm wrapping up a cycle, because I don't know what it is about New Year's Day, but a lot of people had a lot of traumatic experiences on New Year's Day. Just from the collective, like, it's just not only people tell us stories on social media, but my coworker, his father got murdered on New Year's Day. My friend, she done went through some things on New Year's Day. I went through some stuff through New Year's Day. So it was just like, 2020 is not playing, okay? So yeah, I really thought that was very interesting. So really, with Korra's willpower, I'm trying to really decode that, like, because it's like, she doesn't need Rava to be the avatar. And when I'll be yelling at the screen, like, you don't need her, you got this, and she had to really access her own power outside of Rava. That's how she was able to astral project to really defeat Vatu. So, and even in the end of season 1, she lost her bending abilities by a villain. And she was really depressed about it. Like, the water tribe, Katana, Katana, a little old lady by this time. So Katana's like one of the best water benders in the world, one of the best healers in the world. And Katana couldn't even, like, bring her bending back. So, she had a breakdown like we all do, and she started crying. She was like, how am I going to be the avatar? I'm the avatar, but I don't have any bending. So, and that was just during her low point, that's when she was trying to connect to Avatar Aang and the previous avatars, but she was having trouble doing that. And at her lowest point is when she got her spiritual awakening. Doesn't that happen for all of us? When we have a tower moment, when we feel like we're at the lowest of the low, that is the seed for transformation. That is the seed for, it's like the tower in the tarot. It's like death. It's like transformation. So when she was at her lowest point, because she could no longer bend at that time, that's when Avatar Aang, the spirit of Avatar Aang and the other ancestral avatars came to her and restored her bending spiritually. So she's just like, why are you coming now? And then Avatar Aang was just like, because Korra, like, basically, when all is lost, that's when you have your spiritual awakening. Aang told her that. So I'm like, oh, and I start crying at that too, because I'm like, I didn't know on this journey that you have multiple spiritual awakenings. When I think about a spiritual awakening, I'm thinking like, okay, you had that first initial one, and bam, there's the path right there. But you have multiple spiritual awakenings. I did not know that. I'm realizing that now, and that's what I'm going through right now. And that's why I'm able to comprehend other dimensions now, because I'm going through yet another spiritual awakening. I did not know that. It's a point I forgot to make. In reality, there are actually 5 elements if you really pay attention. So there's the natural elements, so water, fire, earth, air. But spirit, that Rava energy I was talking about, spirit is the 5th element. Okay, you see it every day. People call it God, Allah. Spirit is the type of entity, when you see those videos with them dumb people crashing into stores and shit, and how, those people who walk away, who are in those stores, just walk away unharmed. Or like when you see videos of people having near-death experiences and they get saved right away, that's spirit. That's the unexplained. That's like, okay, this is something that's beyond my senses, that I can't necessarily comprehend, but it happened. Spirit is a 5th element. That's why they made the movie called The 5th Element, because there really is a 5th element, and it is called spirit. It's God. It's cosmic. It's the things that, like I said, God is just only, God needs a plug. And how God expresses itself, how we see it through the 3D. So it'll use people, it'll use music to communicate with you, it will use numbers to communicate with you, it will use social media to be like, dang, like, this post is related to my situation. It's crazy how I see this post now, and I'm just going through, so that's spirit. Spirit is indeed the 5th element. There are 5 elements. So yeah, it's just all about it's all about having that willpower. That's one of the things that really, like I said, I wanted to base that whole video on that willpower and know really what knowing thyself is, when all else, when no outside validation can validate you. So Rava was validating in a way Korra, because she felt like, without Rava I'm lost, I can't do it, I'm not the avatar without Rava. But Tenzin was like, no, you have to find your own inner power, and that's what she did, separate from Rava. And I feel like that's what Bobby Hemmitt keeps saying, like, we are separate from the gods, we are more than gods, because she didn't need Rava, because if that was the case, she wouldn't have been able to do that without Rava. When you're your own entity, I think it's that chaos, and I think that's why they made Korra black at the same time too. So because I feel like they're talking about us. All right, now fast forward, I just started watching season 3 episodes 1 and 2. Already very interesting. So now that the portals are open, more spiritual activity on the planet is running rapid, and the civilians are complaining about it because stuff is happening, and spirits is being like how spirits are now. There are fairies and stuff that hide your stuff and misplace your stuff and stuff, and there are vines all over the city, and spirits just walking in the middle of the street like, hey, watch where you're going, da da da, I'm here too, and all that stuff, right? So everybody's having a hard time adjusting to the changes, but Korra doesn't regret her decision. Now, this is where it gets interesting, right? Because the portals are now open and harmonic convergence did occur, like I said, she didn't close the portals like the first Avatar did. She left them open. Changes, right? Like we experience it now. We're experiencing all these shifts in consciousness, and the vibration of the planet is raising, right? Old paradigms are getting left behind, all that stuff. So basically, the same things happened in Legend of Korra. Now, what's interesting is, at first, there's no recollection of any other airbenders. But slowly, airbenders start to come out the woodwork. Meaning, this is how I resonated. So because the portals are open, because the planet is now highly spiritual vibrating, people are now, basically, airbending is like a dormant gene in people. So for the longest, Tenzin thought him and his children were the only airbenders on the planet, but come to find out that airbending gene has just been dormant because Tenzin has another brother. He's an older brother, and he has no bending abilities. And his older brother was kind of, insecure about that, like, oh, my sister and my brother, they have bending abilities, but I don't. But come to find out, Tenzin's older brother is an airbender as well. And we find out in the first episode. And then slowly but surely, everybody around the world are getting, like, Korra's getting reports from everybody around the world, like, they are airbenders. And it's because that junk DNA is like junk DNA in this realm, like in this world. So things are starting to unlock. So this is like a new revolutionary period, because there haven't been new airbenders in 200 years, right? And if you notice, most of them are black or melanated, right? They go to this one city, and this young boy, and he's black, he's a black boy. His name is Kai, and he's an airbender. And, they take him along because they have to try to rebuild the Air Nation, because, like I said, Avatar, the last airbender, he was one of the last airbenders, but, Aang had kids. And so now, gonna find out the airbenders, this is how I interpret it, the airbenders haven't been gone. It's just that gene was passed down, and they didn't have the proper light codes to be activated. But now that those portals and harmonic convergence has activated, and the spiritual world and material are together, and the planet is raising, now that airbending gene is coming out. And I thought that was so funny, because that's the same thing that's happening to us. Like, everybody's psychic abilities are awakening. Like, the things I could do now, I couldn't do 10 years ago. The things that I'm aware now, I couldn't do years ago, so it's the same thing, and I'm sure obviously y'all can relate. So basically, harmonic convergence awakened the airbending gene. So now there are airbenders, and now they're in the process of rebuilding the nation of airbenders, because they are scarce. And I really thought that was really, really awesome. How they connected to, like I said, whoever this is, who writing this, they know. All anime series is like that. And when I do my Naruto one, that's going to be really, really big for me, because just even watching these things, I've learned it's all about will. It's really the same story. It's just like you got a character who doubts themselves. They have other people doubt themselves, but in the midst of that, they find their own power and they get to define themselves. And then it's the same thing. And I can't wait till I do my Naruto video, because that's going to be extremely important for me. Because I love Naruto. Naruto has helped me on so many ways. And I've cried at Naruto too, I'm not gonna lie. Like a lot of anime series, these anime series, they make me cry. And I've been like a lot more in touch. I told you, I've been a lot more in tune with my emotions lately. I went from the Queen of Swords to the Queen of Cups. I never thought I'd get here. But it's okay, it's a beautiful journey. But I really did want to share this with y'all. I highly recommend y'all really go watch Avatar, The Legend of Korra. You can find it on, you can either buy it or find it on a pirated website, whatever you want to do. But really watch it, because you're going to learn something from it. You're going to pick up things that I probably didn't need to pick up on, but it's a very metaphysical show, and it has a lot of symbolism. All these anime series, most of them have symbolism. It's real deep, so you really got to pay attention. And I really appreciate this, because this is really helping me on my journey, knowing that even though I'm alone, I don't really feel alone, because I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work by myself. So not everybody can understand the frequency I'm speaking. I can't just naturally vent this to anybody. It just have to be something that I have to be self-reliant on myself. So this is why what I do, what I teach y'all, I just teach y'all to first rely on yourself, because at the end of the day, doing the work, nobody can do the work for you. You have to really sit by yourself. And you have to really do the work and work everything out on your own for your own evolutionary journey. Because when you leave this planet, you can't take kids with you. You can't take your lover with you. You can't take your mama with you. At the end of the day, when you transition out this body, you are by yourself. And depending on your evolutionary process and your enlightenment determines where you would go, okay? Like I said, I know I'm not trying to come back to Earth, okay? I'm not trying to come back to Earth for a long time. I want to move on, okay? And that's the goal for me, and I feel like I'm there. I'm on that path. So that is it. That's all I want to share with y'all. I really hope y'all enjoyed this. If y'all got any other comments or any other things y'all want to add, just let me know. Okay, I love y'all. Bye.